Hi everyone, welcome to this 30-day program, Change, Grow and Transform. And today we're looking at embracing joy, joy as a compass. So anything that guides you towards joy. Now, little caveat, if you're feeling depressed, angry, sad, grief, unhappy, day 6 could feel like a challenge. And I'll tell you why, because I'm going to open up what we know is and I can find out on my where to share is, okay, so you should be able to see on the screen if I've shared it. There we are. Okay, so you should be able to see this map of consciousness or the scale of consciousness. And this was developed by David Hawkins. And so the reason I say we're going to talk about joy, but it might be a bit difficult if you're not feeling joy, because if you have a look at the top of this map of consciousness, joy is right at the top in the purple zone, purple and blue. And so you've got enlightenment right at the top, peace, joy, love, and reason. And if you are feeling at the bottom grief, apathy, guilt, shame, fear, anger, pride, desire, feeling any of those things, it's a little bit of a leap to get to joy straight away. So, as Abraham Hicks talks about a lot in her videos, is you need to be able to go for the next natural step. So often if you're feeling depressed, which is just flat, lack of motivation, it often feels better to feel anger than depressed. And if you're feeling fear, it's often better to feel desire than fear. And then, we head towards courage. So then we get to neutrality in the green zone and you can start to move up. But what some of the practices that we do by getting in that mindful moment, that space that you've created where you feel safe, we can move your energy slowly up. And this is sometimes what happens in meditation, is you start to practice meditation, you start to let go of your thoughts. They come in and out, but not at the same velocity that they used to. You pay attention and you get trapped in the thoughts, and then you come back out, and that process goes on and off. And over time, you start to notice how you feel before the meditation, before the yoga, before the mindfulness. And then you notice how you feel during and afterwards. And it's really just about paying attention to your experience. So this is one of the issues with positive psychology, is it's all very well to say, oh, just feel happy and peace and love. And those of us that aren't feeling that might say, and have a totally different idea about that, because it is a challenge to just move up and down those scales. And the emotional state that is activated, if you see in the survival paradigm, is around hopeless and miserable, antagonistic, demanding, frightened, until we start to get to the level of courage and neutrality, satisfaction. And so it has a view of the self and a link with pure consciousness. So the lower emotions, hopefully, everyone feels grief, apathy, guilt, and shame, and fear, and desire, and anger at some stage. But we don't want to live there. We don't want it to be a full-time job, okay? And some things, if we only ever seek our desires and actually we're trying to cover up from fear, emptiness, and loss, then what we end up with, as it highlights here, is in a sense of enslavement. We get attached to our desires, and then when we don't have our desire, we can feel that loss or anger, or just find life very difficult because we haven't learned how to also activate those other emotions in us. And I'm trying to sort of share what is quite a complex terrain, but just giving you a little map that you can, which indicates the point I'm making, which is going from grief, guilt, and shame. It's difficult to go right up to joy, peace, and happiness. However, that's what we're covering today. So I just wanted to acknowledge that because I love um, positive psychology, but there are times when it is annoying and irritating to hear stuff when you're not in that space, and you can feel quite annoyed and angry with other people that seem to think you can just get there. So the card with this is the sun in the tarot, and this is I've got the right one, yeah. So this is a beautiful depiction of the yellow in the tarot card. And sun symbolizes vitality, positivity, and success, and reminds you that joy isn't a luxury. It's a sign that you're on the right path. And often people don't realize that it's not just a feeling, it's a sign that your soul and mind and everything is aligned. It's not selfish, it's essential. I mean, we weren't constructed like that as part of the Industrial Revolution. We were led to believe that we should just feel happy because we've earned a wage and spent 60 hours in the factory. But we're not in the 1920s or the 50s anymore, and we're now moving towards what is meaning and purpose and what's the point of my existence. And is existence only about misery, as Freud might have stated, or is it about illumination and discovering what lights you up and makes you feel good? The jury's out on a lot of those things, and I'm not going to sit here and theorize about all of that. But this is just about indicating how you can start to experience joy. So tune into the card, tune into the essence of the card, the energy of the card. And the sun reminds us that following what brings lightness to our heart creates momentum in all areas of our life. So the whole idea of this program is to create momentum, is to build up the practice every day so that we build up the energy around that and we build up the intentions and the focus so that you can start to have more and more feelings that feel good. So whether you center in joy, recharge your spirit, expand your creativity, or attract better opportunities, the focus today is to notice what sparks even a flicker of happiness and to honor it. So sometimes even in the midst of depression, there'll be a little spark, there'll be something that just gives you something that feels good. So we need to honor that no matter how often they take place. And even in those tiny pockets of joy are powerful signs pointing you towards the most authentic life. I've worked with quite a few clients where we talk about how emotions are fleeting, and they are. Our life experience is different pretty much every day. Or at some stage, there will be something that we haven't experienced for a while. So, emotions come and go. And that's why we talk about emotional regulation, of not being so overwhelmed. I'm not sure anyone can live in ecstasy, joy, and excitement on a 24/7 basis. It might be exhausting. I don't know. I haven't done it 24/7, but that's often why people seek to take drugs so they can activate those different experiences. And they're great when you have them, but if you don't also do the inner work, as some people who've done mushroom trips and psychosilin and gone to those workshops will tell you that they can have weeks and weeks then of feeling really depressed and going into the dark night of the soul. So we have to be mindful how we approach this. And if we're going to do anything like that, be with practitioners then can support us on what is a journey that takes us to really vulnerable places. So the mental health tip for this program that is about pockets of experiences and building them and joining them up is micro joy moments. So list 3 things today that brought you even a tiny sense of happiness, a smile, a cozy moment, a favorite song, or something. Okay. The yoga move connected with that is the upward salute. And you can write in your journal what brings you a deep sense of joy, no matter how small. How do you feel when you allow yourself to prioritize happiness? And a lot of people feel guilt around doing things that makes them feel good, especially when people around them don't feel good or they're feeling miserable. What joyful activities would you like to invite into your life this month? And I know last year I'd always wanted to do surfing and what's the other one? Where you're floating on a surfboard, basically. And I couldn't do that because I didn't have the strength after my car accident. I've had to build that up slowly. And I was worried if I fell off, in the water, even though the lake I did it in wasn't that deep. So when I built up my strength to that point, and that was why I was doing some of those strength building activities so that I could do that, and the next one will be surfing, then I tried that event. I was anxious, but I got some help from the teacher, and I managed to get up on the board and I stood on it, paddle boarding, that's it. And I stood on it, and I was really tired the next day because my muscles were so tense because I was trying to hold that pose. But I was really feeling good because it was great. It was on a lake, there was music playing around the lake, different artists and musicians. It was a beautiful, hot, sunny day like it is today. And the lake was really serene. It was just so much joy. And I still remember that. And when we start to tap into the memories of the times that we've had that brought us joy, then again, that we layer that experience. So have a think about that and the kind of things, no matter how small. So if I used on an average day, I've just been out watering my new plants that I put in the garden, and they're looking good, and it's nice. It's joyful to see the different colours. I love the little daisies, and it's nice to be on top of things so I can relax after I've recorded a couple of videos. And so it's the little things like that as we stack them up, we stack and layer these experiences. Bring us joy. So, what joyful activities would you like to bring in the next month? Okay, thank you for listening.